Welcome. In today's explainer, we're looking at a brand that basically came in and, well, entirely rewrote the 3D printing playbook. We're talking, of course, about Bambu Lab, and today they've just dropped the highly anticipated successor to the legendary P2S. We're going to take a deep dive into the brand new Bambu Lab P2S.
The big question on everyone's mind right now, and it's a totally valid one, is this. Is the P2S just a minor facelift, or is it a genuine leap forward for desktop 3D printing? Should you actually spend your hard-earned money on it? Because, on paper and at a quick glance, this machine looks incredibly familiar. But once you look closer and really start breaking down the actual technology, things get really interesting.
Section 1. Brains and Interface Upgrades. Okay, let's dive into this by checking out the most obvious, slap-in-the-face exterior upgrades.
The interface evolution is definitely the first thing you're going to notice. We're jumping from that tiny, clicky 128/64 screen of the older P-series straight to a gorgeous, full-color 5-inch touchscreen running Bambu's second-generation UI. It honestly feels like graduating from a clunky 90s Nokia brick phone directly to a lightning-fast modern smartphone. It absolutely transforms how you interact with the printer.
But hey, it's not just about pretty colors, right? The brains behind that interface are what really matter here. The P2S is equipped with a 2-TOPS Neural Processing Unit, or NPU. So what does that actually mean for you? Well, it means the printer now has dedicated hardware driving AI error detection. It's actively monitoring your print bed for nozzle clumping, jams in the purge chute, and yes, it officially banishes the dreaded spaghetti monster. It's basically like having a tiny, incredibly vigilant robotic guardian angel watching over your print 24/7, ready to pause the whole operation the second something goes sideways.
Section 2. The new servo extruder. So we've covered the brains, but let's transition to the literal muscle working under the hood. The P2S now utilizes a PMSM servo extruder. To break down that technical jargon for a second, traditional stepper motors just, step blindly. They push the filament and kind of just assume it's going where it needs to go. But this new servo system, it completely abandons that blind stepping. It actively samples resistance and position at 20 kHz, which means the machine can literally, physically feel if the filament is starting to grind or clog in real time. And driving that whole servo system is a massive 8.5 kilos of extrusion force capacity. 8.5. That is an incredibly strong grip on the filament as it pushes plastic through the hot end.
So the crucial point is that this 8.5 kilos represents a massive 70% increase in extrusion force over the previous generation. Why should you care about that? Because this massive force increase practically guarantees better reliability, especially on those huge, complex, multi-day prints where, a clogged nozzle on day 3 can ruin an entire spool of filament and waste dozens of hours of your life. The P2S, it just powers right through.
Section 3. Smart Airflow and Maintenance. Now let's shift focus to the quality of life magic that solves some of the absolute most frustrating pain points in traditional 3D printing.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the new one-clip quick swap design. The anxiety of unplugging delicate thermistor wires and praying you didn't accidentally rip them out, that is officially gone. It's beautifully simple. You literally flip a single clip, pull out the entire nozzle and heatsink assembly, drop a new one in, and you are ready to print. Seriously, it takes like 30 seconds with absolutely zero delicate wire unplugging required.
And while we are talking about the hot end, it's vital to point out that both the nozzle and the extruder gears are made of hardened steel right out of the box, meaning the P2S is 100% ready for abrasive engineering-grade materials like carbon fiber filaments from day one. No need to go out and buy aftermarket parts just to print the tough stuff. But what about cooling? That brings us to a feature that's kind of quietly flying under the radar, the adaptive airflow system. This is a super clever flap control system that secretly solves one of the biggest cooling dilemmas you face with enclosed 3D printers. And this brilliantly illustrates how it works. Usually, enclosed printers struggle with standard PLA plastic because they trap way too much heat, causing heat creep and clogs. The traditional fix? You just leave the glass door open. But here, the printer automatically adjusts a flap to draw cool air directly from outside the chamber if you're printing PLA, so you can keep the door totally closed. But if you switch to a high-temp material like ABS or nylon, the system automatically seals the heat inside to prevent warping and runs the chamber air through a carbon filter. It's incredibly smart environment management without you having to lift a finger.
Section 4. The final verdict. Let's bring all this technical data together and answer that initial question of value and consumer viability.
So, with the 5-inch screen, the AI monitoring, the powerful servo extruder, the quick swap hot end, and the adaptive airflow, Is it worth it? Well, if you were buying the P2S as a solo, standalone machine, it comes in at exactly $549. Given the sheer amount of tech packed into this box, that is a highly competitive price point.
But if you want the full multicolor experience, the combo package, which includes the brand new AMS2 Pro system for automatic material switching, comes in at $799.
So what's the ultimate takeaway here? Look, whether you're a beginner just getting into the hobby or you're upgrading an older bed slinger, the sources are clear on the value proposition. As they highlight, this machine is designed to take all the friction out of 3D printing. It's aimed squarely at people who just want a printer that works flawlessly every single time you hit print. It really is an absolute no-brainer.
The P2S firmly secures its crown as a highly refined consumer machine. But what if you need more? What if you want to go bigger? We're talking professional grade, large-scale, multi-material big? Well, that brings us to Bambu Lab's other massive release. But I think we'll have to save that deep dive for our next explainer.
Thanks for joining me.